Hey everyone, it's me Penguin9290. So today, as in when I'm recording this, not when I'm posting this necessarily, but today, a new trailer for Pokemon Super Mystery Dungeon came out. And I'm really hyped and excited for this game, because Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Red Rescue Team was the first video game I ever saw or played or owned. So, Mystery Dungeon's got a lot of meaning to me, more than it does for most other fans of the series. And so, when I saw this trailer, I just got really, really excited for it. And so, I've decided to do a little review of it, I guess you could say. I'm not rating things per se, but I'm reviewing I'm reviewing things as in I'm going over the things that they said and then giving a few ideas I've had and also just some things I've noticed in it. So, with that out of the way, let's get started. So, the trailer starts with, first of all, you get to see that, all the lettering and the background for the lettering stuff is all made of wood. And, I don't really think that's actually anything important, but might be something interesting to note, so I decided to throw that in anyway. Or throw that into the script outline thing that I have written, not the actual trailer. I have nothing to do with the actual making of the trailer, unfortunately. So, they start off showing all the Pokemon we can become. There's plenty of them, thankfully, unlike the 5 in the last game. I hate that game, by the way. And then also another thing, they finally, I say finally even though it's only been gone for one game, but they brought the personality quiz back, which I'm really happy about because that really had a huge impact on just the involvement in the game, I guess you could say. So then you see Piplup talking about the Expedition Society, as it's called, which I'm assuming is the new Wigglytuff's Explorers Guild. And then also they show a huge map of the world, and also, with Piplup talking, they also mention him that Piplup's dream is to create a map of the world. And the world map seems pretty huge. And so, then they talk about the new dungeons. Duh, there's new dungeons. What did anyone expect? And then they showed what looks like the affinity chart in Xenoblade Chronicles, as far as I care. I'm assuming that's going to be the new, team member system thing. And, you also get to see that Pokemon can send messages to you, so I'm wondering what that's going to be about. But then, and after that comes the real, important part of the trailer, as far as I care. Where they start talking a little bit about the game's plot. Which is that, just out of the blue, legendary Pokemon are getting petrified, turned to stone. This is a problem that's, affecting everything worldwide. And, a bunch of legendaries all comment on it. Kyogre, Lugia, Zekrom, Reshiram, Dialga, and Deoxys all comment on this. And then it shows a little thing of Raikou, Entei, and Suicune. I think I pronounced Raikou right. Maybe it's Raikou or Raikou. I've heard it a bunch of different ways in the anime. And then they show the characters in a Giratina silhouette being what the fuck's going on? And that's where they sort of end the trailer. So, just some things that I took note of. First of all, the whole Expedition Society thing, which was only just briefly mentioned and on screen for a second. But I took note of that just because, first of all, from this point on, there's going to be some pretty big spoilers for the previous games. But, in the second game, there was the whole Fog-Bound Lake expedition. And so, that was easily one of my favorite portions of the game. And it was for a lot of people, I've noticed. Words. But anyway, I'm just hoping, is this going to be, just another thing? Is it just going to be another one-time or two-time thing? Or is, like going on a giant fog-bound lake expedition going to, in this game, be just another day on the job. I'm like, I hope it is, because that was freaking awesome in the first game, so getting that as every single whole mission in this game would be really kind of awesome, or every single story mission in this game. So I think that would be kind of awesome. Then, also, who, again, with the world map, like, Piplup, who I'm assuming is the partner character, or whoever else you choose, but in the trailer it's Piplup, said that he wants to create a map of the world. And, like, in all the previous games, as far as I can remember, like, remember, none of this actually applies, like, nothing from the third game applies here because I don't remember a damn thing from it. But at least in the first two games, and I think in the third one, the world map was gigantic, but it was specified to one continent. And, like, so if you're going to create a map of the world, you need to show more than one continent on it. Because in our world, there's 7 continents. And so you'd expect there to be more than just one giant continent in the Mystery Dungeon series. Or world, or whatever you want to call it. And in the trailer, it looks to me like they actually are showing, with the world map, the characters traveling from one continent to another. So, I'm just hoping that, like, we get, like, a full 7 continents to explore. Because I think that would be amazing if we could. And also, not only that, but also, if we're exploring multiple continents, then this is just me talking about things that I just think would be cool. I have no proof to show that they would or wouldn't do this. But how cool would it be if 3 of the continents that show up in this game would actually be the continents from the other games? Like, you get to see the world from Red and Blue Rescue Team, and Explorers of Time, Darkness, and Sky, and then whatever the third game is. I really don't like that game, so I'm trying not to remember much about it. Like, I just think that would be really kind of awesome, if you could actually go to the locations in the old games. Like, that would just add a whole nother layer of depth to the game, I think. And if not a whole nother layer of depth, then it would at least add a few more interesting things. Because the game doesn't have enough already. Then also, when they were talking about, like, the dungeons, just 2 things were there that I took note of. The first is that when the character uses the roll call orb, which is in every game, I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's in every game. And, like, when they use that orb, it summons a Wailord over to them. And I don't know for sure, but I'm pretty sure that A, Wailord could not be recruited in the old games, and B, in the old games, Wailord was way smaller than that. So it seems that we get to recruit giant Pokemon, which we couldn't do in Gates to Infinity. That's the name of the third game. Yeah, I remembered. And that's because in Gates to Infinity, I need to try and remember to call it by that. In Gates to Infinity, as far as I remember, the only giant Pokemon were, like, the legendaries. The only giant Pokemon you actually ever fight in the actual story being Kyurem. So getting to recruit giant Pokemon like that, I think would be just absolutely awesome. So I'm really hoping that that's the case. And then another thing, I noticed them use an item called a Slumber Wand. And I'm pretty sure that that wasn't in any of the games previous. It might be in the third game, but as I said, I fucking hate that game, so I don't remember much. How many times have I said that? Future me, put up a counter of how many times I say I hate that game. But anyway, so the Slumber Wand, it shows that they're putting a whole bunch of new items in the game. Just because, like, there were the Gravel Rocks, and then by extent, the Geo Pebbles. There were the Sticks, the Spikes, the Thorns, blah, blah, blah. So now they're adding wands in. So I'm just wondering how this new item is going to work. First of all, I'm pretty sure they used it from up close. So maybe like this new item is like, it's not a ranged attack the way the Gravel Rocks or the Spikes and Sticks and whatnot were. But instead, this is an item with a much shorter range, but that'll just be quite a lot more powerful. Because really those items in the past games really weren't all that strong. Or most of them weren't. And also, it said it was a Slumber Wand. So maybe that puts the Pokemon it hits to sleep. like maybe this thing, instead of being like some sort of like short-ranged attack, is actually an item that induces a status instead of does damage. Like, I don't have the trailer open in front of me at the moment, and I'm going off my notes, and I didn't actually think about that until just now, so I haven't actually checked. But you'll see it on screen if that's what happens. Then with the affinity chart thing, like that's what I'm calling it until they give us some official name. With the affinity chart kind of thing, it looks like the affinity chart in Xenoblade as far as I care. And so also Pokemon sending messages, don't know how that's going to work, but like, I'm just thinking like, what if there's some sort of like affinity based thing among the members of your team that might even work the same way it does in Xenoblade, where like, by having these teammates work together, or like going on missions together, they build affinity, and by building affinity between each other, they're therefore able to work better as a team when you have them paired up along with whoever else there might be on the team at that time. So I just think that might be really kind of cool. Then, and also the petrification. There really isn't much I have to say about that. All I have to say is that like, it just really didn't sink in for me all that much until it showed Dialga and Deoxys. Because like, Dialga seems downright afraid. And like, really, I can't flip and blame it, but Dialga seems afraid. So like, whatever this issue is, or whatever is causing it, it's dangerous enough for the embodiment of time to be scared out of its wits. And then also Deoxys notices, Deoxys is showing up from a different planet or somewhere else in space. So whatever this problem is, it's major enough to be terrifying the embodiment of time and be noticeable from something that's that's not even on the planet. Like, that's where it really sank in for me, just how extreme the situation is. And then also there's that one scene near the end where first it shows Raikou, Entei, and Suicune. And like, just, I probably said this already, but why are they there? Like, I'm just confused. Like, or not even confused, but just, I don't know. Like, obviously they wouldn't have shown those three specifically unless they had some sort of importance to the plot. So I'm just wondering what sort of plot influence they're going to have. And then finally there's that giant silhouette of the unknown Pokemon. On that everyone's like, what the hell is this thing? And spoilers for those of you who've never seen the cover of Pokemon Platinum, it's Giratina. But just what I'm wondering, like, they're making Giratina out to seem like Giratina's the cause, but are they really doing that? Or when I say that, are they really doing that as the actual thing in game? Like, obviously, yes, Giratina is going to be some majorly intimidating force that you're probably going to have to fight against at some point. But just, is Giratina really the one to blame? Personally, I think he's not going to be. Because, like, all three games have had someone who you thought was the villain, and then suddenly they turn out to be not as bad as you thought, aka good guy. Like, in the first game, it's Gengar, who I really don't think counts because he legitimately was a bit of a bad guy at the beginning, but he did turn good at the end. But then, in Explorers of Time, Darkness, and Sky, and then Gates to Infinity, we have Grovyle and Hydreigon. I think that's how you say his name. I really have no fucking clue. But Grovyle and Hydreigon, both of them are actually the good guys who are being blamed by the bad guys. So, and like, for a large portion of the game, you think they're the one responsible. And then it turns out that they're actually the good guys, and the person who warned you about them is the person who's really responsible, or at the very least works for the person who's responsible for all these things going wrong. So I'm thinking, like, what's happening? Like, is Giratina really the one to blame? Is that like final boss kind of screenshot? Or is that a final boss scene, not screenshot? What am I saying? Or is that like when you find Giratina and find that Giratina is innocent of everything that he's being accused of. Because Giratina has a bit of a track record of A, doing bad shit and getting banished for it, and B, when he returns, he gets accused of all this other bad shit that happens at the same time. So I'm wondering, A, is Giratina innocent? And B, if he is innocent, what's Giratina's relation to all this stuff? Because, like, Grovyle was the one trying to stop the bad guys from ever destroying the future, and Hydreigon was the one trying to catch the bad guys, instead of trying to escape from them and prevent them from ever doing bad things in the first place. So, I'm just really curious. I'm really curious on what the game's going to do with all this stuff. And then I just have a little theory that I have absolutely no support for this theory. It's just purely an idea I had. But, like, what if the way you find out that Giratina isn't to blame in this game is like you go after Giratina to take him down and bring all the petrified Pokemon back to normal, and when you finally find him, you find that he's been petrified himself. And, like, that would just be something really epic, because at the same time, like, I guess something that's sort of supporting it, they only show Giratina's silhouette. They don't show his actual shadow. So this could very well mean that, like, everyone's reaction to what the fuck is happening isn't because they see this giant intimidating Pokemon in front of them. It's because they see that their very target has fallen victim to the same thing that they came here to confront him about. So I just think that that's something cool that I hope, or at least think might happen in the game. And then there's just two other things I felt like taking note of. First of all, in the scene with Giratina, if you actually pay attention, you'll notice that there are 5 team members. Like, there's the avatar and the partner, but then it seems that there's 3 other Pokemon. And so I'm just curious of what this could possibly be. Like, is this something similar to, like, the whole Team Charm thing in Explorers of Sky? Where, like, you just get an extra bunch of Pokemon on your team specifically for, like, one area, meaning the Regigigas battle? Or is this a change to the limit of Pokemon you can bring on explorations with you? Like, can you bring 5 or more Pokemon with you when you go exploring? Like, I, for one thing, that would be flipping awesome. And then also, there's the game's cover art itself. And, like, on this cover art, there's 2 things almost in the exact same spot. That I think is worth noting. I think I heard something break in the background. I'm going to find out what that is later, if anything. But you see Mega Charizard Y. And so, also you actually see Mega Sceptile too, now that I think about it. But just, how is Mega Evolution going to work in this game? That's something I really want to know. Because Mega Evolution, I for one think it's really kind of cool. It's completely pointless, but it's also awesome in the same, like, for the exact same reasons. So I really don't give a crap. But then the thing that really has me intrigued, like, most of the Pokemon are wearing scarves, but these scarves hold some different symbol on it. So I think it's safe to say that this different symbol, like, when you compare it to the symbols used in the previous games, like, this symbol or this scarf or whatever is going to be like the symbol for the Expedition Society. Like, the thing that's really caught my interest with this is that Mega Charizard Y, as far as I can see, it's the only one, but Mega Charizard Y doesn't have the scarf. Mega Charizard Y actually has the original badge. So I'm just wondering, could this Mega Charizard Y potentially be a character from, like, the areas in the other games? Like, just, like, I don't know, if maybe he's even been, like, maybe at one point he was even the Charizard from Alakazam's team in the first game. So, like, just something that I'm curious about, because there's no way that that's just a coincidence that he's the only one one with that visible. So, anyway, this is everything I have to say on this video. I'm considering possibly doing more of these in the future if people actually seem to like this. So, I'm definitely intending to Let's Play this game when it comes out, if I have a capture card by then. But anyway, so, I hope to see you guys in my other Let's Plays. So until then, I've been Peggy9290. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you've enjoyed this. And I'll see you next time. Bye!